Yeah, good morning. In the previous session, we have seen different scheduling algorithms such as first come first serve, shortest job first, preemptive and non-preemptive scheduling techniques like your shortest job first, which can be preemptive or non-preemptive. So in each of these techniques, what we have seen is there is one single ready queue, and we did not categorize the process according to whether it was a foreground or a background process. So in this session, what we are going to do is, depending on the type of process it is, whether it is an interactive process, a background process, a low priority process, or a high priority process, according to that, we are going to categorize the ready queue. So here we are going to deal with multi-level queue scheduling and multi-level feedback queue scheduling. So you can see here we have different types of process in the multi-level scheduling, where we have a system process, interactive editing process, batch process, and student process. This can be roughly categorized into two different categories, such as foreground process and background process. Say starting from system process, interactive editing process can be grouped into foreground process, and batch process and student process fall into background process. So if I have to say what is a multi-level queue, in a multi-level queue scheduling, what we are going to do is the ready queue is classified or grouped into different queues based on whether the process is foreground or background process. And each queue will have its own scheduling algorithms. So say for example, all the foreground process, since we require interaction between the process and the user, so what we're going to do is we're going to apply round robin, and in the background process such as batch process or a student process, we're going to apply first come first serve. And also what we need to do is, you can come back to this, here we can see apart from applying process scheduling for each of the queues, we also have to apply scheduling across the queues here. Say we can apply a preemptive priority scheduling. Say for example, your system process is going to have the highest priority and your student process is going to have the lowest priority. That is one part of it. The second part is, it is to be preempted. Say for example, if there are no process in the system queue, no process in the interactive queue, no process in the interactive editing queue. And now what happens is, suppose we are executing a batch process and all the previous queues were empty initially, and batch process queue is executed. So now what happens is, suppose a new process enters either the system process or an interactive process queue, then we have to preempt your batch process queue scheduling, wherein we have to give higher priority to the queues which are above it. So this is how your multi-level queue scheduling works. So to just go through here, we can see here. So scheduling must be done between the queues. Okay, we have fixed priority scheduling, that is we are going to categorize as a foreground or background. And so what happens here is these processes cannot move across the queues here. So since they cannot move across the queues and we cannot come down, say here in this particular slide, if there are processes in the system, see all the queues are loaded here and system process also is loaded. So currently we are executing the process which are in the system queue. So what happens here? So in this case, until all the process in the system queue is completed, we cannot move to interactive process. So over and over, if the process is dynamically entering the system process queue, then the other queues are going to lead to starvation, because neither the process can jump across the queues and neither can I switch over, because I have scheduled it as high priority and low priority scheduling techniques is being applied across the queue. Okay, this is the drawback in this particular case, where the queues below with a lower priority can lead to starvation. So this is the drawback, whatever I have mentioned. Process cannot move between the queue, so it is inflexible. And you have priority. Since you have priority, what happens is all the time we have starvation on the lower priority queues, and also it's preempted again. We are not applying any kind of an aging technique or anywhere where we can increase the priority of the queue. So none of those have been applied here. Therefore, multi-level queue scheduling is having a drawback here. Okay, so we can overcome this drawback by going to what is called a multi-level feedback queue. So in multi-level feedback queue, what we can do, see, you can see in this diagram. So in this particular diagram, you can see there's a feedback from, there are 3 queues here, and there's a feedback from the last, that's the tail of this of the first queue to the next queue, and it goes on like this. So what does it mean here? So we can see in this definition, in a multi-level feedback queue, a process can move between various queues. Means what? We are not categorizing any of the process according to foreground or background. It's the first part of it. The second part is, whatever process comes in the ready queue is moved to, say, one of these, the first queue, that is Q0. Okay, in Q0 we are going to assign a time slice or a quantum of 8 milliseconds, in the Q1 we're going to assign a time slice of 16 milliseconds. The last one is applied as first come first serve. So what happens in the first queue? Say there's a set of process which comes with the ready queue. So now all the process enter in the first queue, that is Q0, and it will be executed there, or it is going to be in that particular queue until its time quantum of 8 is done. Suppose is there any residue? Suppose you had a process which is around 12 milliseconds, and in the first queue it can stay only up to 8 milliseconds. So the remaining 4 milliseconds has to be moved to the next queue, that is your Q1 with a quantum of 16. So what happens is, until all the process is completed in Q0, we cannot move to Q1. So what happens in this particular case is, we are giving high priority to those processes which are having small time quantum, so they can execute faster, and the remaining is moved to the next queue. So on, and until when Q0 and Q1 are empty, only then we come to first come first serve. So where all the remaining burst times will be executed in the order of first come first serve. Okay, so this is about your multi-level feedback queue. So what is that you can observe here is, one thing, that the small quantum processes are executed faster. That is one. Okay, it's implicitly or indirectly we are trying to achieve process with a smaller quantum is executed faster. And second is, since they are not categorized as high priority or low priority, okay, neither categorized as foreground or background, okay, there is no starvation here. As in when the smaller burst time, the process with the remaining burst time are moved to the next queues, somehow it ensures that all the process gets its turn to complete its execution. So there is no starvation in this case, because by moving the process to different queues, what we are trying to do is, we are doing a kind of an aging. So finally all the remaining burst time process lands up in the first come first serve, that's the last queue, and they get its turn to execute it. So this is going to avoid your starvation. So this is what has been covered in this particular session. Okay, so we had covered your multi-level queue scheduling and multi-level feedback scheduling and its drawbacks and its advantages. So in this next section, what we're going to do is, we're going to understand how multiple processor scheduling and real-time scheduling will be executed. So in whatever we have dealt till now, we were looking in only at the single processor. So whatever we have done, whether first come first serve, or shortage of first, or a preemptive, round robin, all these we were working on a single process, a single processor. Okay, and also we were here multi-level feedback queue and multi-level queue also worked on a single processor. So the next session we're going to deal with multiple processor scheduling and real-time scheduling. That's it for the session. Thank you.